Hey, Lauren here, realtor and investor here. Want to talk about Boulder Real Estate. I get a lot of questions or a lot of people inquiring about Boulder. Boulder's very big, and so I just wanted to do a quick, and when I say quick, probably 15-20 minutes, so not really quick, just summary of Boulder. And please excuse my art. I am not an artist, I'm a numbers person. But just wanted to talk a little bit about Boulder Real Estate. There's a big draw to Boulder. Boulder is kind of notorious in the country, so I get a lot of investors looking to come in, or just people that want to live in Boulder. They like the just the kind of the free spirit lifestyle, if you will, the artsy kind of feel. There's lots of artsy things and cultural items to do in Boulder, which kind of, I think, separates it from everywhere else. And then you also have the University of Colorado that brings in a ton of traffic every year. And then now we're starting to get the big tech companies are creating hubs or Colorado locations, and just increasing the flow of people into Boulder, which is also going to show off in the prices of houses. I've been watching Boulder Real Estate since 2001 when I first moved here, and I moved here to be a student at CU, and now turned realtor, or been in the real estate game in Boulder since 2003, and I have seen prices just skyrocket. Some homes have tripled, most have maybe doubled, and then there's other homes that have barely gone up 20%, which I find surprising. But I wanted to just talk to you like Boulder basics right now. So just the kind of some raw data from March 2021, and if anyone's paying attention to the market, it's been an aggressive market right now, an aggressive seller's market, and so prices are increased 15 to 20% of what they were selling for last year, and that's just supply and demand. And there's not a lot of supply and a high demand, because I'm assuming because of the low interest rates, and then I'm also making an assumption that there's not a lot of houses on the market because of COVID, and people don't really want to put their house on the market during a pandemic. So let's talk some basic numbers in Boulder here. We have the median price range at $755,000. With that said, the average home price is $950,000. Little difference between median is all of the houses combined, and it's more of a chart, but then the average house price is a little bit higher because you do have the multi-million-dollar homes that do sell up in kind of the key areas of Boulder. I've kind of, with my map, I can show you where those high numbers are that skew Boulder, and those are kind of right here, my little star right here, and this is, so I've got CU to the south and kind of right around Pearl Street, I would say. In between, well, a little bit mile north of Pearl Street all the way down to CU. So it's historic Boulder. Also, Chautauqua Park is my other star. My stars are for my expensive areas. And then you have the Boulder Mountain region, where you get those big boy homes too, that are 5,000 to 7,000 square feet, beautiful mountain views, and those are more than $10 million. So that kind of skews the number a bit. But as you can tell, Boulder is expensive. It might as well be in California, except for our taxes are very relatively low compared to the house price. So you kind of give and take. You get a little lower taxes, but your house price, you're certainly paying for it. So the Colorado average for house purchase is about $520,000. The Denver metro is actually $550,000. So you'd get kind of a range in here with, Colorado's a big state, and there's a lot of rural areas that kind of throw off some of these numbers, where you're seeing Boulder is kind of double the rest of the state. The metro area is going to be a little bit higher, and then when you go into the mountains and ski country, that's going to get so much higher so fast, especially if you're in Aspen looking at $2,400 a square foot on average. So a little bit more about these numbers. March had an average square foot in Boulder about 410. Those numbers, while I know the numbers are right, I just kind of don't think they're as accurate as they could be, even though All right, part 2 of the Boulder series, and we just recently talked about these price per square foot. I think the luxury homes or the up-to-date homes, recently renovated, white everywhere, stone, everything light and bright, is going to be around $800 a square foot, which is about double the price point right there. And so, well, I'd say closer to 800 square feet in, going back to my beautiful map that is not drawn to scale, not really drawn with a lot of talent here, but just go with me, it's not to scale. My little star areas, which this is the kind of the Pearl Street, 1 to 2 mile radius, with being the south end of that being CU. And then we also have the stars, Chautauqua Park. And then we also have the area over here, which is kind of the mountain region of Boulder. That's going to push those prices up, and then you're going to get closer to that $410 a square foot, maybe $300 a square foot in like the North Boulder. Sometimes in the rural mountains, just depending on, if it's a house built in the 70s and it hasn't really been touched, that's going to be your price point too. And then you also have East Boulder over here, which is next to Lafayette, Louisville, Superior, not drawn to scale. And so you get closer to that. You're probably between 300 and 400 over in that zone, and then when you get into Lafayette, Louisville, Superior, you're in probably the $300 to $400 square foot zone, maybe $250-ish. So you do get outside, and the price does start to drop a little bit, but you're still in Boulder County, so you still get all the school systems and all the most things. You're just not in City of Boulder. So let's talk days on market. The days on market is 20, which Colorado as a whole is less than 10. The big reason for this is the higher the house price, the more days it tends to be on the market. I'd say historically $1 million homes have been, they sell within 6 months, maybe 3 months. Right now they're going in less than 3 weeks. And then the cheaper the home, the faster it's going to go. And in Boulder, if you have a house, a well-priced house under $500,000, it's going to go within hours. That's what we're seeing in the Denver metro, which I guess would be down here, if we're not judging my scale right there. But then so Boulder as a whole, it's really large. So even City of Boulder is huge, and Boulder County is even bigger, and I think we need to discuss the differences in the little micro neighborhoods that go into Boulder, because I think it's important, and if you were thinking about investing or getting into Boulder, you need to have someone that knows that it's not just Boulder, because all of Boulder isn't the same. And the reason why it's important is, one, your purchase price, but then you also have something very, very important, which is appreciation. And not all Boulder appreciates at the same rate. And if you get basic stats, or you get an agent or someone that just does everything as Boulder as a whole, you're going to be missing out, and you might accidentally invest in areas that I call them trapped in time, because they look almost the same they did when they were built in the 70s or 80s, and they haven't really appreciated at a rate even remotely close to other areas of Boulder. And so I kind of consider those homes stuck in time. And if you are investing, like you have a kid in college at the CU or wherever, and you want to buy a home, since you're not really getting a lot of rent from your child, you might be if you do good work, usually there's no rent, so you care more about this appreciation, and you do not want to get stuck in one of those neighborhoods that I just think get stuck in time. So I did want to divide, we're kind of doing a layman's thing here, where I'm going to have I only divided Boulder into four parts, and then I threw in Superior just for kind of a reference point, so you can see outside of Boulder and what you can get, and the prices are going to be similar. I say that loosely, but similar. So I divided into 4 spots into Boulder, and it was mostly so you All right, part three, there you go, Boulder County, and now we're dividing Boulder into, well, 4 zip codes and 1 just kind of the outside, so you get a base point, and I'm making generalizations here because I only divided Boulder into 4. There's a heck of a lot more than 4 neighborhoods in this video. However, to keep it under probably 30 minutes at the beginning, I said 15. That's a lie because I'm already at 10 and I barely said anything. So Boulder is very big. So I'm divided it into 4 different zip codes to try to give you more information on the different areas. And we also, when you invest in Boulder, and that's investing, not living, because there is a little bit of a difference sometimes, is the appreciation. And that is the fact, that is you want to figure out appreciation not just within a year. I like to do 20 years. 10 years is probably adequate. I go back 20 years, but that's just because I came to Boulder in 2001 and it happens to be 20 years. So the 4 regions that I picked are the 80301 through 4. And I did that because you get kind of 4 distinct price models, and there's a lot more zip codes than this, but the pricing, I've encompassed all the kind of the price points. So the first one I talk about is number 1, which is going to be your East Boulder. And so you're going to get slightly lower pricing. Actually, it's the lowest price over here because this used to be very rural farmland. And if you've driven on 36 or up Arapahoe, there's not so much farmland anymore. That's actually where my daughter does horseback riding, is right off Arapahoe, right on the edge of Boulder, city of Boulder. But you get over here and it was historically rural, farther away from the town center, the historic little location of Boulder, historic regions. It's kind of oval, if you will. Don't judge my art. I apologize for that. But anyway, this used to be rural, and then you have your suburbs of Boulder, which I think it's funny, Boulder's getting almost as many suburbs as Denver, or from a square footage standpoint, it's size-wise, it's pretty funny how big Boulder can be, even though it's not technically a city. No skyscrapers and, rules on 4 stories homes. Anyway, so East Boulder is going to be your cheapest, for sake of argument right now. It's 80301. And now we're going to get into a bigger, higher price point, and it's almost 1.2 million for an average home, which is above your average. And this too is over here. So the west side of Boulder, it's where the mountains are. It's where the big homes are, and it's up in the mountains. And then you also have Chautauqua Park, which is going to be another historic district. And in between here you have the University Hill, which, we're not going to talk about the hill right now, but we're going to talk about family homes, and I'm just going to refer to that as Chautauqua, wrong, right, or otherwise, for the sake of argument. And my art, we're just going to say it's that zone. So you get more historic homes over here, where you're closer to the $800 square foot, just from historic, old school Boulder. You're at one of the pinpoints, actually, in the 80302. And then also you're going to get your other spot at the 80304, which is Pearl Street, CU, that area. And that area is actually on my goal list, and I can tell you why I'm not there yet. But I've got plans to get there, and I've been working on getting there for 20 years. I'm almost there. I think I'm within 3 years of being able to have a nice family home in this zip code, which is, it's taken me a long darn time, but I can say that I no longer have 4 roommates sharing a single bathroom, and so I'm very happy that I'm actually close to being able to have a nice family home near Pearl Street, because I like to walk everywhere. So the 80304 is going to be the most expensive, technically speaking, per square foot, and that's kind of historic historic Boulder, which goes, All right, so talking about the historic regions of Boulder, which is the 80302 and 80304, which is, you know, I'd say 1 to 2 miles north of Pearl, maybe a mile and a half, all the way through the university, and then you kind of come over and do the Chautauqua Park, and so those are going to be your two most expensive areas, and you're looking at right around 1.2 million. That's also where you're going to get your $800 a square foot. For those homes, the closer you get here into the center of Boulder, the closer you're going to be to your neighbors, and probably smaller homes or homes that have been renovated, gutted. You sometimes get homes that are older than 100 years, so you get nice historic properties over here and maybe over here a little bit, Mapleton Hill, and just trying to be general with the different neighborhoods, but you get a lot of great homes now, and if you want new construction, you're going townhome. With those, townhomes are just blowing up everywhere. And they're appreciating really, really well, or any new construction or new-ish construction that's, I would say, not the 60s, 70s, when Boulder kind of blew up. You get a lot of appreciation for those, and new construction is few and far between in Boulder, a little bit more, I'd say, now than historically speaking. And that's just because Boulder has really rigid rules on permitting, and they keep a tight fist on what gets built and what doesn't. So that, you know, that also is a reason for the high pricing in Boulder. But the newer the construction, I mean, yeah, and then the townhomes, they're just appreciating like crazy. And yeah, any homes that I would say within the last 10 years are highly coveted, they're hard to get. Then you have some renovated homes, maybe from the early 2000s. 90s homes, those are good too. The 70s, 80s homes inside can tend to appreciate a little bit slower. Obviously, if you gut the house and do full renovations, that's going to change things. And then up here in rural Boulder, kind of mountains, but not the historic ones. What used to be defined as rural, still, I mean, technically it is, but it's northern Boulder in the mountains. You're going to get some really cool artsy homes built in the 70s, 80s, and those appreciate pretty well too. Certainly more than the in-town homes, but they're 2,000 to 3,000 square feet, artsy, they're cool, they're neat, they're unique homes, and those do quite well as well. And those are hard to come by when you get them, especially well-maintained ones, or renovated ones are even better. So let's see, last one we haven't talked about is the 80303, which is kind of the middle point of the $750,000, and that is going to be down, I think I divided that into kind of South Boulder. I'll get over the art, I hope you do too, is that, I mean, maybe Table Mesa a little bit. Table Mesa is pricey and it has some really wonderful schools, and it's, let's, for sake of argument, South Boulder. And then I also didn't put in, I guess North Boulder's kind of, we'll just summarize that as kind of East Boulder, North Boulder, Gun Barrel area. I guess we could also consider it into like 3 circles, like Boulder proper, and then the first, or kind of first in my circle, and then you get your Boulder County towns, which are going to slowly, the price is going to slowly trend outward, just kind of like City of Denver, or most cities actually, except you do get higher values here just because we have mountains. So let's see, so that's kind of very summarized the Boulder, kind of breaking Boulder into 4 pieces. We could break them into probably 16. I think I actually counted 16, and I think we could do 16 to make it really distinct. But All right, Lauren here. We are on our last section, section 4 of Boulder Investing in Boulder and finding a house in Boulder. And so I made a lot of assumptions here. And the bottom line is, when you choose to buy property in Boulder, it's not just a dollars and cents. It's not just purely an investment based on numbers. And it can be an investment. It's just numbers, dollars and cents aren't the reason you're going to choose Boulder. There's more to it. If your decision is based on money, well, one, you might not pick the state of Colorado. I would say the southern United States is better from a cost per square foot, cost per rent, and also from a liability standpoint. However, we're focused on Boulder right now, and if you want to focus on Colorado, the better numbers are in Denver and Aurora. So just is what it is. So the point being here is, when you pick Boulder, there's a reason for it, and it's not just dollars and cents. And I can tell you why I picked Boulder, and that's, I've been here for 20 years, and I've changed my status in life a little bit. It's taken me 20 years to get from living with a single bathroom and 4 girls to, like eating ramen, to now where I'm in striking distance of getting a nice family home with a rooftop patio. I'm a sucker for rooftop patios right now. I need to make a vision board, and if I had one, it would have that rooftop patio. But I'm very close. Within the next 3 years, should be able to get that home in the 30304, which is actually, I'm looking like 1 mile radius of Pearl Street and new-ish construction. So I set my goal time. The sucker's probably going to be $2 million, and I'm looking at that $800 a square foot. And the decision I made is, it's a highly personal one, and doesn't really even make financial sense, if I'm being honest. And that's one of the reasons why my husband and I can't agree on it, but we have come to an agreement. Is when I can afford this house, I'm getting it. And when he can afford that house in Vail that he wants, we're getting that too. So we've just decided to divide and conquer, because otherwise we were never going to agree. And I'm grateful, 10 years later, we are able to be comfortable and then just kind of friendly compete with each other, but I'm sure I'm going to win that. But that's also because my house is cheaper, even at $2 million in that North Pearl Street zone, because in Vail, actually, we're looking at like $1,200 a square foot, which, hey, he wants to ski in, ski out, and I'm not going to say no to it, because why would I do that? And he's paying for it, I'm not. I just get to use it. I'm paying for the one that I've had my goal set on for 20 years, is to be near Pearl Street. Since I started off as a server at Cheesecake Factory on Pearl Street, I decided that one day I would be able to buy that, and now I'm within striking distance of that. And the reason why I tell you that is because it's a very personal decision. It doesn't make financial sense to spend $800 a square foot, $2 million on a 2,500 square foot place. Albeit it's going to have a rooftop patio that's going to be awesome. It's a very emotional decision. Or it's not a financial decision, put it that way. And we're talking about real estate investing in Boulder, but the numbers just aren't there if you're talking pure numbers. And so there's a reason, and I would say figure out what your reason is. If it's, I have a kid in school and I want them to live there, then I'm going to focus more on appreciation. Me, I just wanted a house there, and I don't know, that's just been my thing. If I had a vision board, it would be on there. But it's just because it's where I want to be, because I want to walk everywhere. I don't want a car. I'll have one. I haven't gone total hippie, but if I could not have a car, that would be awesome. And it's just, and I think it's a good area for my kids to grow up in also. So it's just, I'd say figure out what your goal is and then go from there. And so thank you guys for tuning in. It's almost been 20 minutes. My door is always open. I don't always have the answers. Sometimes I do. But I'm also happy to admit when I don't. So if you ever have any questions, my door is always open. And have fun navigating Boulder and finding your next investment or home.